You are on mute, Anchal.
Good evening. Good evening. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Amir, for notifying that. A warm welcome to our distinguished guests who are joining us on time. I really appreciate your punctualness, and I'm seeing the more than 100 people are already there. That's really fantastic for all of us. Uh, we are being joined by a lot of people, and I believe these are joining from all around the world, just not from UAE. So it's an absolute pleasure for us to really connect with you, and we're delighted to really bring this global community together of the experienced project professionals. So welcome to the PMI UAE Chapter webinar series, and my particular welcome to the people who are joining it first time in that matter. And this is the space where the ideas really meet in actions and the experiences meets with the inspirations. My name is Anchal, and I'm your particular host and moderator for today's webinar session from the PMI UAE side, webinar side of the thing. Behind the scenes, of course, I have the team of the people joining with me, but definitely Amir is there with me, ensuring that we are running this webinar successfully so that we can focus on learning and engaging. While we are seeing that more than 150 people have joined us, that's really fantastic number we have. Uh, we have today's discussion in which, particularly, the topic we are going to explore is definitely something which is a bit of unique in itself, because not every project manager might have thought or come across this, but it is definitely the need of the hour, and of course, one of the important mandate from the governments, as well as the corporate social responsibility perspective, that how the project managers can really evolve beyond traditional delivery measures of time, cost, and the scope of the work, which we typically always learned and being trained to handle with, and to really become a kind of catalyst to the long-term organizational value ultimately. And that value definitely can come from different side of the pictures, right? And today we are going to touch base with something which is more importantly connected with sustainability angle of it. And today's our speaker is definitely is an expert on that, and she has been doing a great job around that. Before I come to her and her work, let me put some kind of housekeeping notes for the people who are joining it first time. We are at only 2 3 minutes, and then yeah, 180 people, so it's good. So this webinar will continuously have been giving the values from the perspective of not only sharing the knowledge but also making it much more engaging. And this 75 minutes or so which we are going to spend together, uh, I'm going to run out with a kind of brief introduction of the chapter, and that will be followed by the main presentation. After the presentation, we will definitely have a Q&A round where you can definitely put your thoughts, questions into the Q&A part of the Zoom. And then I will try to definitely pick up as many as possible to this. And then we'll try to answer with our speaker there. Meanwhile, the people who don't have questions don't need to be isolated. Feel free to share your reflections on the topic, on your collective experience, because this is definitely something that enriches the whole discussion point there, and rather than making it one way street for all of us. Uh, One important announcement I would like to do today is regarding the PDUs. So I know that a lot of people are definitely must be keen to understand the PDUs. So the concept which we are bringing and transforming it from here is that every webinar is giving you two PDUs as usual, but now we are changing the mode how these PDUs need to be claimed and need to be received. So previously it was the backend activity. Now we want to bring it much more enabled and empowered to all of you. So going ahead, what we are trying to do is that if you have registered your webinar using the PMI registered email address, you will supposed to receive this particular PDU code for today's webinar, and so on and so forth down the line as well, which webinar you will attend. You will receive that in your email itself, in your inbox from the PMI side. And with that code, you have to use the PMI portal, which I will show you those in the screenshot as well in a couple of minutes, that how to use that code to claim your PDUs there. So it will be much more empowered to you guys to take an action, and then you will have the control of your PDUs. As far as you are claiming it back, you should be able to get it. So that's what the one important change from the chapter perspective, which I want to definitely bring it to all of you. But let me share the screen quickly to show you the chapter introduction, and then we speak about PDU as well back once more. So let me share my screen here. Okay, perfect. So I think the screen is shared now. Okay, so from the chapter side of the thing, PMI is definitely one of the well-known, renowned institute, and no introduction needed for this particular group. But again, to refresh back our memory, 1969 is where since the things really launched, and now even after 50 years back, now we are discussing about one of the largest professional association in the world. From the perspective of credentials, gold standards, training, accommodation, and also the communities, the kind of engagement which we generate throughout the chapters is really phenomenal, and is one of the well-known community fraternity around the world around that. We also encourage sponsorship and research
Uh,
and
Excuse me, Anshul.
yes.
The screen is not visible. Speaker, the audience is
Okay,
saying
just a
that.
second.
Yeah.
uh, is it visible now? No.
Now,
Hello.
okay. Now, okay.
Now okay.
Not your screen. Rena's
Okay,
screen is.
Rena screen, I think you let me just again try to reshare because there's only one screen sharing showing to me here. Mr. McKin. I think it's already shared, Amir. Are you able to see? Let me again try to stop sharing. Is not coming to me. Just a second. Which screen you're seeing, Amir, now? Hello? Okay,
Your,
already
your,
visible. Okay, just a second. I think there is some issue in the PPT. Let me relaunch the presentation. Apologies for the glitch there. Let me again try to bring it on screen. Okay, now it is open here. Okay, now it is changing. Okay, yes. Now is it visible?
not yet. Share again. Okay. But it's black screen. Okay. Fine.
It came now. Okay, it is moving now, right?
You just move first. Okay, moving.
Moving. Perfect. Yep. So I think that's what about the PMI particular as a kind of unit. More importantly, the chapter is definitely engaged, and we are definitely trying to evolve and empower and influence the whole individual community in the UAE chapter over here, bringing the innovative project economy principles to turn ideas into the firm reality there. The chapter mission is goes with the disruption and creating value driven opportunities to all our members and the partners to become agile, innovative, and productive in the platform for the growth of project economy there. The chapter is 100% run by volunteers, and we are proud to say that it is one of the top 5 chapters in the whole EMA region. We have more than 6,000 plus of members now, and this has really grown up front. And we have seen this trajectory grown ups and bounds there from the past 24 months, kind of thing. We are definitely dependent on all of you to make this chapter activity as interactive, as invigorating as much as possible. We have the board of directors led by President Amina Sultan Abdul Rahim and rest of the board of directors who have been recently lately appointed on their respective positions. We have the chapter benefits to bring it from the perspective of networking, career growth, learning and knowledge sharing, and the events. And this particular webinar, which we are doing now, definitely falling under the verticals of events. And we are also bring the face-to-face events as well, and the kind of every quarter kind of thing, and also the annual event during the particular year time. We have the initiatives for members, for the members corner spotlight, where they can share their thought leadership, and then also they can bring their own experiences to share with the fraternity of the chapter members as well. If you want to drop it out, please drop a mail to newsletters@pmiua.org. uh, PDU information, which I was telling you at the beginning. Uh, is it about just changing the mode? How do we get the PDUs? Now you will be getting the PDUs from now onwards into your email address directly. And that particular code of the PDU, you have to use it and use it in the website once you log into PMI website with your email address. definitely you will see the main dashboard place and the PDUs as a drop down value. And there you can report the PDU section there. And once the PDU report section is open, you can see the PDU claim code. And then under the claim code, you put the code which you receive in the email address. So it will be as easy as possible for you to apply it. And once after submission goes in, soon after 24 hours to within 48 hours, you should receive an email confirmation that your PDU has been approved, or what has happened to them from that angle. And you can see your results as well of the submission. So this particular webinar is definitely going to give you 2 PDUs as usual, but now will be given to you as a form of code to apply yourself into the PMI website. If you want to get more information about the chapter activities, you are invited to follow any of the social media channels. All these webinars are always recorded, and definitely you can go back and refresh your memory back in the form of your recording in the YouTube channel over there. There are different communities involved. Feel free to join any of the social media channels so that you can get much more engagement. And also, if you have any kind of concerns or any kind of queries, there are email address specifically designed for getting your queries related to the volunteering or membership, so on and so forth there. Website is a useful information. So one of the place where you get all the information is pmiuae.org. Feel free to join the website, and then always keep yourself updated with the latest event, what we are going to do over there. So with that in mind, I think that was the chapter and the PDUs information, which I wanted to convey it. And then, of course, talking about today's session back with the speaker introduction. So Joice is a well-known face for the people who have been associated with us. She has been working alongside with me in the events team itself, and it's my absolute pleasure to have her as a kind of colleague, and also is a wonderful person. And she has been doing great job from the perspective of bringing community and also acting as a project and program management professional, as a trainer as well. And also she is the founder of Terra Numan, which is one of the particular organization she has been working around with. She has 25 years of experience overall, and with this kind of 2 decades experience, she has been working into IT, logistics, finance, healthcare, construction, and helping the companies to go towards excellence of the project and sustainable growth there. Through Terra Numan, her organization, she is delivering interactive learning experiences to strengthen the project leadership, stakeholder engagement, and the organizational capabilities from the single frame of the truth over there. She is PMP GRI certified sustainable professional, and also the climate first facilitator, bringing a practical and people-centric, future-focused perspectives to her own thought leadership from the perspective of enterprise transformation. So with that kind of background, definitely it's worth for us to hear her out and then understand that how the Joice want to apply and share her knowledge to all of us from the sustainable goal perspective. Over to you, Joice.
Thank you. Thank you, Anshul, for that great introduction. And good evening, everyone. Is my voice audible, Anshul?
Yes, perfectly. Everything is fine. Looks great.
Okay. The screen also is shared, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, whichever region you're joining in. And thank you for taking the time to join today's PMI UAE webinar. So it's a pleasure and honor to be here with fellow project professionals who are passionate about delivering meaningful outcomes. So in these next 50 minutes or so, I would like to explore a question that I believe is becoming increasingly important for all of us. For years, project success has been measured by whether we delivered on scope, schedule, and budget. Of course, those measures remain essential. But today's organizations expect something more. So projects are increasingly expected to contribute to strategic objectives, create measurable business value, strengthen organizational capability, and support long-term organizational success. So today's session is really about one central question. How do organizations move from having ambitious strategic goals to actually realizing sustainable value through their projects? So to explore that question, I will introduce a a practical framework, practical way of thinking about organizational readiness, supported by a simple framework, running a simple business scenario, and a readiness roadmap that project professionals can immediately relate to. So, whether you are managing projects, leading a PMO, or influencing organizational transformation, I hope you will leave this webinar with a different perspective on the role project managers can play in enabling sustainable value. So, let's begin by looking at how the definition of project success is itself is evolving. So, what defines a project, successful project? If I had asked this question about 5, 6 years before, most project managers would probably have answered it in a very similar way, like a successful project is one that meets scope, stayed within the budget, and finished on schedule. And to be clear, those measures are still fundamental. They're not changing. Without delivery discipline, there is no foundation for success, isn't it? So, but organizations today are asking much more broader questions. So, they are asking, did this project support our strategic priorities? Did it improve business performance? Did it strengthen our capability or create value that continued after the project was closed? So, in other words, project management isn't being redefined, it's being expanded. So, our responsibility doesn't stop at delivering outputs. Increasingly, we are expected to contribute to organizational outcomes. So, what exactly is the difference between delivering a project and delivering value? So, this is probably one of the most important ideas I would like everyone to remember today. So, projects deliver outputs, whereas organizations realize value. A project may deliver a new system, redesigned process, or new equipment, or digital platform. Those are the outputs, isn't it? But value isn't created simply because something has been delivered. Value begins when people adopt new ways of working, when business performance improves, when expected benefits become measurable, and when those improvements continue long after the project team has moved on. So that's why successful project delivery doesn't automatically guarantee sustainable value realization. There's another step between project completion and organizational success. So, if projects can be delivered successfully without creating lasting value, what can be the one which causes this particular gap? So, if projects can be delivered successfully, yes, of course, but successfully, without creating a lasting value. So, what can be the cause of this? So, let's explore that. Organizations pay a great deal of attention to what we can easily see. That is the schedules, budgets, then the scope, and of course the deliverables. These are visible and measurable. But below that, underneath those visible elements are those factors that often determine whether value is realized, whether leadership commitment, governance, stakeholder alignment, capability, culture, data, and measurement. When these underlying dimensions are weak or disconnected, projects may still be delivering successfully the outcomes, but the organization still struggled to realize the value that was expected from the project. So the issue is often not the project management capability, it's the organizational readiness. So, and this challenge is not limited to one industry or one region. So now, why this matters more than ever? So the reasons could be customer expect greater transparency and accountability. We are aware that brand visibility, where the customers do expect from the companies the transparency on their reporting and what they say and what they deliver. Regulators increasingly expect stronger governance and sustainability reporting. Technology, we know that it continues to reshape the industries. And across GCC, ambitious national transformation agendas are creating new expectations for organizations in both the public as well as the private sectors. Whether it is UAE's Net Zero 2050 initiatives, Saudi Vision 2030, or Qatar National Vision of 2030, organizations are being expected to think beyond short term and focus on long term value creation. So that's why sustainable value is no longer just a sustainability conversation now. It is becoming a business conversation. So, where does that lead to project managers? We, the project managers, where we come into picture then? We know project managers don't usually define organizational strategy. And we may not own the business benefits after the project closure, usually. But we occupy a unique position. We connect strategy with execution. We bring together multiple stakeholders, various kind of stakeholders. We communicate and bring them together. We influence the governance as well, identify the risk, and facilitate decisions as well. And increasingly, we are expected to think beyond successful delivery and ask, will this project actually enable the value the organization expects? That's a different mindset, isn't it? It's not about replacing traditional project management. It is about extending our project as a project manager, extending our contribution. So, I would like to understand how you think about project success today. I would like all of you to vote on this poll, which is coming for you. How do you define project success today? Please type just the letter that best represents your view in the chat. So is it delivering within scope, schedule, and budget? That's A. B is achieving expected business benefits. Then the C is creating measurable organizational value. And D is enabling long-term strategic outcomes. I would expect you to use the poll if possible. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers. It is simply, I'm simply interested in understanding how the broader audience thinks about project success today. Okay. Thank you. It's always interesting to see the mix of perspectives. That's nice to see. Yes, very good, well mix of perspective that we have. Uh, I can see. Okay, good. So there is no majority I can see. It is all divided almost equally. So it is always interesting to see this kind of mix of perspectives. And you'll probably notice that each option, the answers when you uh, elaborate that, it's the you'll probably notice that each option, what is there, actually builds on the previous one. Delivering outputs remains essential, but sustainable value is where organizations increasingly want projects to lead, right? So obviously, there are no right or wrong answer. This is where how do we look at this the success of the project. To make these ideas practical, let's use one organization as a running example throughout the rest of today's session. So it's a fictitious organization that I'm referring to, but it will be the one will be continuing throughout this session. A mid-sized um, GCC manufacturing company. So, for an example, consider it is a mid-sized manufacturing company which is operating here in the GCC. It's an established business with multiple functions like operations, engineering, procurement, finance, quality, HR, supply chain, and projects. We see that these are the normal functions the organizations of manufacturing will have. So, like many organizations, it has ambitious strategic goals as well. So the goals can be it wants to improve the operational performance, strengthen the customer confidence, increase resource efficiency, and build long-term organizational capability. Nothing unusual so far, right? So, but here is a question we will keep coming back throughout this webinar. Is this organization actually ready to translate those ambitions into a sustainable value? So we will use this particular scenario and explore each of the readiness dimensions that I'm going to speak about and how they influence organizational outcomes. So having ambitions is important. Having strategy also is important, but ambition alone uh, doesn't guarantee results. So let's see how and why. So ambitions do not uh, give the organization the readiness to get the value from the projects. Organizations today have, as we know, have clear strategies. It comes from the top. They have leadership commitment. They invest in transformation initiatives. They have capable project teams as well. But the question is not only whether the organization knows where it wants to go, the question is the organization prepared to realize the value those initiatives are expected to create? Because projects can be well planned and the and well executed as well. But if priorities are unclear, if the stakeholders are not aligned, or project teams the project teams deliver initiatives, but the organizations must be ready to realize the value. This brings us to the missing link between the strategic ambition and the sustainable outcomes. Let's see what is that missing link. The strategy defines where the organization wants to go, the strategy goals. So the projects that we as the project managers lead and execute translate those strategies into action. But the link between those two is the readiness which determines whether the organization has the capability, has the alignment and capacity to convert those initiatives into lasting outcomes. So, and readiness is not a soft concept. It directly influences decision making, adoption, benefits realization, and long-term performance. Uh, I would like to have the your perspective in the chat. It keeps giving the continuous momentum for the presentation. I welcome those comments as well. So the readiness, as we know, it is not a soft concept. It directly influences the decision making, the adoption, benefits realization, and long-term performance. So continuing with this, we will explore one central question. That is, how ready is an organization to realize the value its projects are designed to create? So to understand this better, let's look at the journey from the strategic goals to the sustainable value. Sustainable value does not happen at a single point in time. It is not that just I started a project and I'm realizing the sustainable value from that project. Or I have a set of portfolio projects and the value is coming from there. It doesn't happen in one point of time, in one point in time. It is created through the connected journey. It starts with strategy goals, understanding what the organization wants to achieve. These goals are translated into the initiatives as programs and projects. But before the value is realized, the organization must be ready with the right capabilities, governance, culture, and measurement. Then organizations can track the outcomes and sustain the value beyond the project lifecycle. So the important point is that every stage matters. A weakness at any stage can affect the final outcome, as the chain can break in between. So the final value, which is the result of the entire chain, can will not give the value that we are looking for. So to help organizations think about this systematically, we need a practical framework. So let's see how the framework looks like. Strategic to sustainable value framework, a practical framework for evaluating organizational readiness, helping project professional to and as well as the project executives and the top executives move beyond the project success toward the lasting business value. So at the center of this framework, you can see the sustainable value realization. Yeah. So around that, you can see the seven circles, which are the pillars of the seven pillars of the framework that I'm talking about. The strategic alignment, then is the leadership commitment, that is the second. Governance and accountability. Then comes the stakeholder engagement, that is the fourth. Fifth one is the data and measurement. Sixth is the capability development. And the last but not the least one, and the very important one, is the culture and change readiness. These dimensions as you can see, are interconnected. A weakness in one area can affect the organization's ability to realize a value across the entire system. So, this framework can help organizations identify where readiness exists, where the gaps appear, and where focus action is required. So, let me just erase. So, each pillar can be converted into a practical leadership question. So, the 7 dimensions easily become the 7 important questions that I'll be walking you through, which can help the organizations to understand where they lie. The 7 dimensions, as I mentioned, are translated into questions leaders can actually answer. These are not operational checklists. They are the leadership questions. So, for example, are we investing in the right projects? Obviously, this is not a checklist question to the project managers. Do our people have the capability to sustain this transformation which my project is delivering? And is our culture helping or preventing the change? These are some of the questions that influence whether projects create lasting organizational value. So let's begin with the first question, strategic alignment. So, are we investing in the right projects? To elaborate on this, I will ask a simple question. The leaders can answer the question on the chat itself. There is no poll for this. Question for the leaders. All of you are the leaders. So if you removed 20% of your current project portfolio today, would strategic outcomes be at risk? Or would the organization barely notice that change? I'd be happy to see the responses on the chat itself. I will repeat the question. If you removed 20% of your current project portfolio today, would strategic outcomes be at risk? Or would the organization barely notice it? Okay. Okay. Some of you say barely they will notice. Some of you are saying they are at risk. So, if you are able to answer this question clearly, if the answer, then we are at the right track. So if the answer is unclear, we are not sure, then the portfolio is not aligned with the strategy. Thank you. Thank you so much for the response. It is, if the answer is unclear, yes, of course, your portfolio is not aligned to the strategy. It is aligned to the momentum of delivering the project or delivering the activities. So, strategic alignment requires active governance, not passive assumption. So, yes, I can see that some of you have answered. Definitely, it will give impact on the alignment and need immediate attention. Yes, that is how the portfolio's governance actually works. Organizations often have many projects competing for resources, isn't it? So the challenge is not only delivering projects successfully, the challenge is ensuring that the the right projects receive the attention, have the investment, and of course the leadership focus. So strategic alignments creates a clear connection between the project deliveries as well as the outcome, what it comes with that. So when this connection is weak, organizations may deliver many activities, but create a limited strategic progress. Okay. So let's apply this thinking to our manufacturing scenario. Let's continue working with the example that we started with. in our manufacturing example, the organization has, you can see on the screen, three strategic priorities. First one is the efficiency, sorry, the efficiency, improving of the efficiency of the organization. Uh, Second one is the increasing customer value. And the third one is the building resilience. So these are the project the what the organization is currently working on. So the important point here is that you can see uh, each of this investment should have a clear connection between this strategic priority and the initiative and the expected value. So similarly, for example, if you can see in this particular first example, the an energy optimization program is not only a sustainability initiative, it supports the cost reduction for the company, increases the operational efficiency as well as the competitiveness and the brand value. A quality improvement system at the same time is not only a technology investment, it supports customer confidence and business performance as well. This is what the how the strategic alignment looks like in practice. So every initiative, the organization should be having a clear value story defined well in advance before actually the projects are taking off. So alignment, as we can see, alignment creates direction, but direction alone is not enough. The change requires active leadership. So let's see how the organizations organizations align with the strategic direction and how the leadership also actively is taking part. So the first one here is leadership actively taking part or driving the change? This is the second question that I have from the framework that I explained earlier. Is leadership actively driving the change? That's what leadership commitment is. It is the difference between the project being implemented and change being adopted. So the leadership is demonstrated through visible actions and clear decisions, resource allocation, and the active communication throughout the project execution, and as well as removing those barriers when those challenges appear. So when leadership engagement is strong, the organization receives a clear message, and this matters important to the organization sustainable deliveries. Without that leadership commitment, even the well-designed initiatives can lose momentum and value can be lost before it is even realized. So the next question is how organizations create governance structure that supports value realization. So the next question here is, do we have the right governance to deliver the value? This is my third question out of those 7 questions that I have assigned. When we hear the word governance, what comes to our brain first? When we hear the word governance, what comes to our brain first? Policies, rules, approvals, reporting, controls. Yes, of course, those are all important. Without that, governance will not work. While the traditional governance focuses on schedule, compliance, budget, risk. The next parallel to that is the value focused governance. The value focused governance asks additional questions. Are we still aligned with the strategic priorities? Are expected benefits being tracked? Are decisions being made at the right level? The goal is here not more bureaucracy. It is better decisions that protect and enhance value. So, and we know that the decisions are rarely made by one group of stakeholders. And therefore, the next question comes is, which relates to the broader audience. The decisions, as we know, are rarely made at one level or one group of stakeholders. Therefore, value creation also depends on how people work together, on how people working together. So the next question for the framework that I have here is, are our stakeholders working towards the same outcome? So the question here is, are our stakeholders working toward the same outcomes? Operations may focus on efficiency, which is important. Finance may focus on the investment. Obviously, they have to get the returns on their investment. Customers focus on quality, reliability, and employees, like all of us, focus on how particular change is going to affect my daily work. All of these perspectives are important, no doubt about that. The challenge here is ensuring everyone is working toward the same strategic outcome. Of course, alignment does not mean everyone has the same priorities. It is not possible. Each stakeholder will have their own priorities. The difference here is everyone understand, uh, though the priorities are different for each stakeholder groups, everyone in those stakeholders understand the shared outcome and their role in achieving that shared outcome. So at this point, I would like to invite you, all of you, to reflect on your organizations, your own organizations. So where is your organization's biggest readiness challenges as of now, as what you understand? Is it uh, is it the A? Is it a strategic alignment? Uh, B, is it leadership and governance? The C is the whether it is measurement and data. D for or the capability and change. I'm sure you are able to see the poll on the screen. A is the where is your organization's biggest readiness challenge right now? You can select A, B, C, or D. Again, there is no right or wrong answer. Is what you understand your organization's current status? Yeah, option D is capability and change. Do your people have the skills to sustain the transformation? Sorry, on the screen. Okay. Again, there is no right or wrong answer. The purpose here is simply to understand where organizations commonly experience the challenges. Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Interestingly, these areas are all interconnected. All the strategic alignment, leadership governance, measurement and data, capability, and change. A weakness in one dimension often creates challenges in others. So one area that often, the one area that often reveals readiness gaps, what we have normally seen is the measurement, because organizations cannot improve what they cannot see. Isn't it true? So the next question here is, can we measure the value we intend to create? So the project metrics remain important. So project metrics, we know, completion percentage, the schedule performance, cost performance. These are all the important metrics for the project success. These tell us whether we are delivering the project effectively or not. But they do not always tell us whether the organization is achieving the intended outcome that what they have planned. So value metrics look beyond delivery. Are benefits being achieved? Is the operational performance is improving? Are customer outcomes changing? Are the risk being reduced? Are the resources being used more effectively? So measurement creates the visibility. So, and visibility enables the better decisions. So let's look at how this challenge appears in our manufacturing scenario that we started with. So in our manufacturing example, the organization is already be collecting the large amount of data. So the data strategy is well in place. So the production data is available, quality data is there, the energy data is available, also the operational performance data as well. But collecting data alone, just a minute. But collecting data alone does not create value, isn't it? So the question is, can leadership use this information to make the better decision or make better decisions? So a value-focused dashboard, the dashboards, as we know, it's created normally from the as an IT project. But a value-focused dashboard is not only an IT project, it is a leadership tool. So it helps the leaders to understand the performance, identify the improvement, identify the improvement opportunities, and act before problems become very big. So as we can see, all the data we have, the leadership has the tool, not as an only the IT project, it has the tool to view the performance of the organization. So now the data provides the visibility. So, but organizations need this capability. So organizations need that capability to act on that insight. So let's see the next question. So when we talk about capability, what comes to our mind? So we can, yes, technical skills. Yes. What next? Okay, I think knowledge. Yes. I think I need to speed up my presentation. Looks like that. Yes. When we talk about capability, the things what come to our mind are the technical skills. But organizational capability is much broader. It is a combination of people, process, and technology. So do people have that skill and behaviors required? Sorry. Do processes support the collaboration and consistent execution? Do systems and tools provide the information needed? So capability is not created automatically when a project starts. It needs to be deliberately developed and strengthened throughout the transformation journey. So the final question here brings a final question in this particular framework here is one of the most difficult parts of the transformation. Is our organization ready to sustain that change? Because implementation is only the beginning, the first part of it. The solution is delivered, so the implementation is done. Then the people need to understand and accept the change. That is the second important step. New behaviors need to become the part of our daily work. That is the adoption. Some of you had mentioned adoption. Yes. Leaders need to reinforce the change. And finally, the organization needs to continue improving. And therefore, project closure is not the same as value realization. I would need 5 more minutes, Anshul. Thank you.
Okay.
The real measure of success is whether the change becomes sustainable. So, if all the 7 dimensions matter, the question becomes how do they work together? So, the strong strategy without capability creates the frustration. Strong technology without adoption also is a limited value. Governance without leadership commitment also creates a delay. It's a bureaucracy. Sustainable value emerges when all dimensions work together. This is the key idea. Organizational readiness is not one capability, it is the strength of the entire system. And the next question is how can organizations understand where they are today and determine where to focus for the improvement? So that brings us to the readiness journey and the roadmap. So the first is to understand how the readiness looks like. Is our organization, is it reactive? So project manages separately, limited value ownership, and outcomes left to the chance. Is it on the developing stage? That is, they are beginning to improve alignment, collaboration, and as well as the visibility of the value. The third one is it integrated? Where strategy, projects, people, and measurement work together intentionally. It is not that every organization must transfer overnight. It is not possible. The objective is to understand the current state and identify the next meaningful improvement. So, to improve readiness, organizations first need to identify where the gaps exist. So, a small readiness assessment snapshot is here. We know improvement can start when there is awareness. Organizations cannot strengthen when they have what they have not identified, isn't it? A structured readiness assessment helps leaders understand where strengths exist and where the risk may be developing. For example, an organization may have a strong strategic alignment but weak measurement capabilities, or it may have strong technology investment but limited change readiness. So the purpose of an assessment is not to create another report. It is to create a clear view of priorities and guide focused action. So these readiness challenges are visible across industries and across regions. So just an example, none of the industry or the organizations are away from this. Manufacturing organizations are balancing operational efficiency and sustainability expectations, banks to managing digital transformation alongside the regulatory requirements, construction companies focusing on not only on delivery but also on the long-term asset value, technology services, scaling innovation, building the sustainable capability. So let's see how effectively can organizations translate strategic ambitions into measurable, lasting outcomes. The roadmap that I have been speaking about. First step is the assess the readiness, as we already saw that in the assessment snapshot. Understand the current state, the strengths, and the gaps. Prioritize the improvement. That is the second. Third one is the build the capability. Develop the skills, systems, and behaviors required. Fourth one is embed into the delivery of the project. Connect improvements with the everyday project and the business execution. And fifth one is the track and refine, measure the progress and continuously improve. The important point is that the readiness is not achieved achieved in once. It is a continuous process. So where does this lead the project professionals to? So project professionals are not only responsible for managing plans and schedules. They are positioned at the intersection between the strategy and the execution. They influence how clearly outcomes are understood. They bring stakeholders together, support better decisions, and help the organization new ways of working. So the opportunity for project managers is not to replace the business leaders. It is to become a stronger partners in enabling organizations' value. So now, before we close, if I may ask you takeaways from this particular webinar. So just to summarize, first, what we saw was the project deliver outputs, but outputs alone are not the destination. Second is organizations realize value. Value creation is a shared business responsibility. Third is readiness. Readiness enables the transformation. Without readiness, even the well-managed projects can under-deliver. Fourth one is the measurement, which creates visibility. And finally, the culture, which sustains the outcomes. And I would like to leave you with one final question. Are we only ready to deliver the project, or are we ready to realize the value the project is expected to create? So with that thought, I would like to briefly mention about Tara Newman, as Angela had introduced. Tara Newman supports the organizations on this journey through assessments, workshops, capability building programs, and leadership development. Tara Newman works with the organizations and the professionals who are looking to strengthen this connection between strategy, execution, and sustainable value. So I'd like now to open the session for question and answers. Before that, if you can scan the first one is for you to give me a review on the first the QR code, and the second one is so that you can continue with connect and continue with the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Of course, we are running a bit short of time, but let me see the questions. What we have is, while the people are reflecting on your framework and all that, Umair has asked you that how we are going to decide when to start and stop the project, especially when the stopping the project, right? Because projects get started, programs get initiated, but stopping the project or stalling the project, canceling the project is something that is strategically uh, definitely a big decision, and especially lined on paper, but continuously fails to deliver the expected value. So at this kind of situation, how to decide when to curtail, stop, such kind of cancel, whatever we want to do, such projects need to be done, how to decide this?
Okay. As we know, the project managers are supposed to be delivering the outcomes. We have the pre-decided outcomes which are expected. So it will not be a straightforward answer that I can give you that okay, this you realize the outcomes and you stop the project. It is in between. The project is ongoing. The strategy decides that the project what is already in continuous or in the implementation stage is no longer is going to give any value. So you assess the outcomes with the long-term value it is going to create. I'm implementing an ERP project, But the ERP project what have implementing right now, is it in line with my objectives? Is it giving me if my objective is to get the sustainability reporting as the final outcome, is this particular tool or the project has those capabilities? Does it have the AI capabilities? Yes, of course, we are doing the analysis before starting the project, but it is possible that due to the regulations changing, due to the governance changing, or the cross-border requirements changing, it can over the period of time before the project is completed, it can change. So at this time, it is a decision with the project manager along with the strategic leadership, of course, to decide whether to take it further or take it keep it the close it there. So it is a strategic decision which analyzes the value what is already delivered and the value which is yet to the cost benefit analysis that you will do before taking the decision.
Sure. So Chris is asking us a second question over there, Joyce, that how do we assess the culture part, because culture is not being assessed by a kind of scale that way. uh, how to understand and really put some kind of assessment to that, whether the culture part of the organization, stakeholders, is ready or not ready for this kind of project which we are taking. How to do that?
Yes, what I'm working with is the designing such assessment criteria as well. So the various things can be do the people who are part of this project who are going to be impacted, do they aware of the what changes are going to come? If you are going to implement the face detection process in the company, so the is your culture, is the local culture allows that? Do they allow face scanning as a regular process? Does it go with the my readiness? These kind of questions will be part of your assessment criteria. So from where the organizations have to identify the local culture as well as the different people who are part of that particular. It can be as we are in the UAE where different nationalities, different ethnicity people are there. It is very important that we understand different ways the people work, different ways the people understand the different strategic initiatives.
Sure. So there are some tools also Chris has mentioned. Of course, that is the assessment part of looking at it. But definitely there are tools as well, applied change, co-steer, and sense maker. That's what Chris has suggested to the people. Thank you, Chris, for bringing your viewpoint about on the tooling part of it. What is the role of ethical issue? Somebody is asking us about it.
Ethical issue in?
um, for the perspective of project, when you say there has to be some kind of ethical measures to be in place, so not very clear, but the question has come as a one liner to me. What is the role of ethical in the project management possibly, or in the project execution part?
Yes, ethical issues, there are many, like it can be on the environment side. Are we, when we are executing the project, are we really considering environment project aspects? Are we considering the people, the social side of it, the employees, the other stakeholders like the local community? There is a, suppose there is a new site of construction is getting, new project is coming. So what are the different kind of stakeholders that are getting impacted with that? Of course, the company who is developing that project maybe uh, forecasted a big value or big revenue from that project. I will not name the projects over here or in the GCC. There are many big projects that we decide at the organization strategic level. Are these the projects really making good value to the first to the environment? Are they adding value to the social life the people are living there? Is it, is it only a prestige issue that we are developing that particular project? So these kind of questions where we are not going to detail into the ESG concept of that. The environment and the social impact is one of the things that we, as the project managers, need to be questioning as well when we are talking about ethical values, right?
Yep, absolutely. No, absolutely right. I think we have summed up a couple of important factors around projects, basically, and initiatives. And again, we are ultimately handling with the why question again, that being into project management and being into project execution and that connector of that thread from strategy to execution, when just not what you synthesize, Joyce. It focus on the six important things again. You started with the focus, right? The focus on value is what the key, and then absolutely a need of the hour. That for outcomes is going to define our success, but producing the project output is not just producing the outputs, and we're doing the project for taking the holistic view is very important for the organizational strategic alignment. That is important factor of why. Then as a leader, as a person, we need to take a strong leadership approach, responsibility and ethical behavior. Just now the question came some particular there. So being an accountable leader, about being the project manager. Culture is also being discussed. So building an empowered culture for psychological safety is the key there from the project point of view, because that was going to bring you the collaboration. Otherwise the collaboration is definitely not going to be there, and ultimately trust will break it down. So, and lastly but not the least, is of course the quality and the sustainability pieces. So I think these are the inbuilt synthesis thread of the whole fabric which we discussed around this particular area, and that is the core principles on which the whole success will lie around. But definitely, there was a quite interesting aspect of understanding the whole project philosophy there. Thank you, Joyce. I really appreciate your time, effort, energy you put it today to conclude the session. I want to thank every participant who has joined us from the different part of the places. I see a lot of people coming from Africa this time as well, and the volunteers who make these webinars possible. Special recognition to the team in membership, outreach, volunteering, and marketing. Definitely, these are the people who make this global community from the UAE chapter possible for us. So remember that, guys, leadership isn't about executing the tasks again. It's about inspiring the people, navigating the complexity, and leaving the legacy with a clear impact around it. So that's what, on the behalf of my chapter, my colleague Amir, and the Joyce, this is Anchal here, wishing you a continued success and the inspiration in your projects. Until we meet next time, keep leading with a purpose, keep your project's team intact, and continue raising your bar for the project excellence throughout the world. Thank you so much. Goodbye.